What is up, everyone? Happy Football Friday. We have a quadruple header tonight of college football. I'm very excited about that. As we also have baseball going on right now, which is always a good time. Dodgers looking to take the NLCS and head to the World Series. But a lot of football this week, running through every day of at least one football game. Love this time of year with all the sports we got going on, plus daily football. So let's talk about Tuesday night. We had 3 games on Tuesday. South Alabama beating up on Troy 25-9. Gio Lopez for the Jaguars, 76.2%, 158, 1 touchdown, 11 carries, 67 yards, and a rushing score as well. He was pretty good and has been for the Jags, despite being just 3-4. They still do have a very good shot at the Sun Belt championship game and the Sun Belt West title. For Troy, they played 2 quarterbacks. Tucker Kilcrease, I believe, got the start and was very ineffective. Just 2 of 6, 33.3%, minus 6 yards and an interception. Matthew Caldwell then came in, gave the Trojans a little bit of a spark, but still not the greatest. 56.7%, 142, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Fluff Bothwell led the game in rushing outside of Lopez there. The freshman running back continues to be good for USA. 53 yards on 12 carries and 3 receptions for 8 yards. Troy wide receiver Devontae Ross, he was the Trojan spark all night in their limited offensive output. 7 for 70 and a touchdown, lead the game in receiving. And defensively, massive night for Troy linebacker Brendan Jackson. 10 tackles, 5 solos, 4.5 tackles for loss. South Alabama minus 8.5 covers under 51.5. Mid-Tennessee, the Blue Raiders getting their second win of the season at the hands of Kennesaw State, 14-5, barn burner in mid-Tennessee there. The Owls continuing to search for their first FBS win, 0-6 halfway through their first campaign. We'll see if they can get that first win somewhere in the last 6 weeks of the season. Nicholas Badiata, though, for the Blue Raiders, decent, but he didn't really have to be. 55.9%, 199. Kennesaw played 2 quarterbacks. Caleb Johnson, 5 of 17, 29.4%, 52 yards, 2 picks. Braden Bohannon, 50%, 5 of 10 for 51 yards. Quay Ashley for the Owls, he was the leading rusher in the game. 11 carries, 79 yards, a 8-yard reception. Mid-Tennessee tight end Holden Willis led the game in receiving, 8 for 92. Mid-Tennessee wide receiver Amari Kelly sealed the game for the Blue Raiders, caught 6 for 77 on offense and a 61-yard punt return touchdown. Like I said, really sealed it up, making it a 2-score game there. And then crazy good night on the losing side again here. Linebacker Garland Benyard for Kennesaw, 6 tackles, 4 solos, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Kennesaw State plus 10.5 covered under 50.5. Easily. And this was a barn burner. New Mexico State 33-30 over Louisiana Tech in double overtime. John's Aggies there getting it done in a tough game, but they did end up getting it done. Evan Bullock for the Bulldogs, though, 53.7%, 233, 2 touchdowns. For New Mexico State, it was Parker Awad early, 50%, 155, a touchdown, 4 carries, 23 yards. I think he got injured. So in comes Brandon Nunez. Not that great passing, 57.1% on 7 attempts for 49 yards. But rushing the ball, 6 carries, 30 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Those were big in the Aggies' comeback and eventual win. Seth McGowan for New Mexico State, he led the game in rushing, 17 carries, 66 yards, 2 receptions for 25 yards. Leading the game in receiving, big 100-yard night for the Bulldogs wide receiver True Edwards, 9 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. And another great defensive performance we had on Tuesday night went to New Mexico State defensive end Cale Edwards, 7 tackles, 5 solos, 4 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. New Mexico State plus 12.5 wins outright over 48.5, easily 63 in that game. On Wednesday, we had Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, getting to 5-2, 31-14 win over Sam Houston State, and an important one as Sam Houston was 5-1, Western was 4-2 coming into this one. Conference USA battle here. The Hilltoppers come out on top though. Caden Veltkamp, he was spectacular, 69%, 281, 3 touchdowns, 14 carries, 27 yards, and a rushing score. I think this would have been a different game. Hunter Watson for the Bearcats got injured. 66.7%, 6 of 9, 128, 2 touchdowns, 7 carries for 37 yards. He was really lighting the Western Kentucky defense up and unfortunately got injured. Jace Bauer comes in. Just wasn't the same offense. 54.5% for Bauer, 106, a pick, 11 carries, 41 yards, and a fumble. You can see there. 2 touchdowns for Watson, 2 turnovers, 0 touchdowns for Bauer there. So it sucked too because I had the over in this game. So it was like, bro, come on. You know, it kind of sucked because I had the over and Watson doesn't get hurt. I think the over hits quite easily as these two teams were going back and forth. Elijah Young for the Hilltoppers. He led the game in rushing. 23 carries, 97 yards, a fumble, 3 catches, 61 yards, a touchdown, and an 0 for 1 on his only pass attempt. Western Kentucky wide receiver Katie Hutchinson. He led the game in receiving, 3 catches, 88 yards, a touchdown. Good all-purpose night for Sam Houston wide receiver Simeon Evans, 5 for 59 receiving and a touchdown, 11-yard carry, and a 1-yard pass completion. And defensively, I am going to go with Western Kentucky defensive back Upton Stout, 6 tackles, 4 solos, 1 pass defense, and a pick. Western Kentucky plus 1.5 wins outright under 55.5. The other game we had on Wednesday, UTEP getting the job done, 30-21 over FIU, getting their first win of the season and first win in almost a year. 357 days it had been since the Miners had won a game coming into this one, 0-6. Luckily for me, I had some good intel, got the money line play on the Miners and paid off. They got this dub. Skylar Locklear for the Miners, 60.9%, 161, a touchdown, a pick, 6 carries for 12 yards, and a rushing score. Keon Jenkins, he started the game as is the Panthers starter, 63.6%, 73 yards, touchdown, and a pick. Believe he got injured. Amari Jones comes in, 54.5%, 92 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 8 carries, 11 yards. He got dinged up. Hayden Carlson had to play a bit as well, 66.7%, 37 yards, 2 picks. For the Miners, running back Javon Jackson, big rushing night for him, led the game, 26 carries, 148 yards, 1 touchdown, a 22-yard receiving touchdown as well. Leading the game in receiving was UTEP wide receiver Kenny Odom, 4 catches, 95 yards. And defensively, I got to go with UTEP safety Lance Russell, 9 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 1.5 tackles for loss, and an interception. UTEP plus 6.5 wins outright over 47.5. And last night, we had a couple games as well. Marshall, the Thundering Herd, getting the job done, 35-20 over Georgia State. And thank you, Marshall, AJ Turner, for scoring a long rushing touchdown near the end of the game to hit the over. Thank you, Mr. Turner. Zach Gibson, though, Christian Veilleux, he was a starter for the Panthers. Very inefficient, 2 of 4, 50%, 17 yards, offense stunk. Zach Gibson comes in. Excellent player for Georgia State on the night. 59.4%, 192, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 35 yards. Really sparked this Panthers offense, just not enough in the end. Braylon Braxton, the Tulsa transfer, he was decent. Not great passing, 55%, 132, a touchdown and a pick, but running the ball, he was very good. 13 carries, 72 yards. I mentioned AJ Turner. He was the monster on the night. 200-yard rushers, 1 for each side in this one. But Turner was the guy. 15 carries, 177 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 30-yard receiving touchdown as well. 4 total on the night for Turner. Freddie Brock for Georgia State, also over 100, 18 carries, 124, 2 catches for 14 yards. His teammate, Michelle Dukes, pretty good running night, 6 carries, 41 yards, but he had 2 touchdown receptions, 7 catches for 58 yards, 2 scores. Leading the game in receiving, however, was Georgia State tight end Dorian Fleming, 7 receptions, 66 yards. And defensively, I'm going with Marshall defensive back J.J. Roberts, 9 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 pass defense. Marshall, minus 8.5, covers over 50.5. And the final game here, Virginia Tech blowing out Boston College in Blacksburg, 42-21. Yeah, I was surprised. Boston College actually made it a very good game. They made it a 1-score game. In the third quarter, it was 28, or no, they made it a 2-score game. I think it was 35-21. Maybe it's 28-21 at one point, but they made a fiery comeback in the third quarter, scoring 21 straight. But Virginia Tech got 2 more touchdowns on the board to pull away in the fourth. Thomas Castellanos, 65.4%, 205, 2 touchdowns, 20 carries, 58 yards, 2 fumbles. For Virginia Tech, it was Kyron Drones, very good, 77.8%, just 164 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 10 carries, 40 yards, 2 touchdown runs, and a fumble. But the player of the game was Hokies running back Bashal Tootin, 18 carries, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 fumble, and a 20-yard receiving touchdown as well. 4 touchdown night for him, just like A.J. Turner had for the Thundering Herd there. Leading the game in receiving was Virginia Tech tight end Benji Gosnell, 4 catches, 49 yards. And defensively, another excellent midweek performance here for defensive lineman Antoine Powell-Ryland for the Hokies. 7 tackles, all of them solos, 4 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Virginia Tech minus 8.5, covered easily, over 46.5, 63 in that game. On to the NFL, the Monday Night Football, Bills beating the Jets 23-20. And I mean, dude, the Jets should have won this game. This was just complete crap by New York. And, they had plenty of opportunities, especially Greg Zuerlein missed 2 field goals. So got to start with that. 2 off the post. And it's just ridiculous that the Jets roster that they have cannot win against what I don't think is a great Bills roster. Now, even though they did add Amari Cooper, we'll talk about that in a sec. Still don't think they're the greatest, especially on defense. But yeah, Jets definitely should have won this game. Aaron Rodgers, 65.7%, 294, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Josh Allen, efficient, 76%, 215, 2 touchdowns, 9 carries, 18 yards, and a rushing score. Breece Hall, over 100. That was a bright spot for New York. 18 carries, 113 yards, 5 catches, 56 yards on 6 targets. The Jets wide receiver Allen Lazard was over 100, as was Garrett Wilson. Lazard 6 for 114 and a touchdown on 7 targets. Wilson caught 8 of his 10 targets for 107 yards and a touchdown. And defensively, I got to go with Bills defensive end AJ Epinesa, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, and 2 QB hits. Bills minus 1.5 covered, over 42.5 by the hook. The over also hit in this game, but it was pretty bullshit. Broncos 33-10 romp over the Saints in Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. Spencer Rattler, the rookie fifth rounder, getting the start once again. 71.4%, 172, 5 carries, 34 yards, and 2 fumbles. Jake Haener came in for him late, led a scoring drive, 3 of 4, 75%, 38 yards, and a touchdown. Bo Nix, 61.5%, 164, 10 carries, 75 yards. Broncos running back Javonte Williams led the game in rushing. Excellent rushing night for Denver overall. 14 carries, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 23 yards. Saints wide receiver Cedric Wilson Jr. also actually led the game in receiving. Caught 6 of his 7 targets for 57 yards and a touchdown. And defensively, it's Cody Barton. It's Cody Barton all day. 55 was everywhere last night. Broncos linebacker, 8 tackles, 6 solos, 1 sack, 1 pass defense, 1 QB hit, and a 52-yard fumble return for a touchdown. And why I said the over was bullshit was because I have no clue what the Broncos were doing. They had this game in hand and just playing sloppy defense. Vance Joseph's blitzing and Jake Hayner like he doesn't know where to go with the ball. The man's an accurate quarterback, and not a rookie like Rattler was unfazed by the blitz down the stretch. And Hayner's one possession led to a scoring touchdown that hit the over, which, again, bullshit. Broncos -2.5 covered easily, over 37.5. College football news. A lot of injury updates here. Colorado State wide receiver Torrey Horton, he is out for the season. He has a knee injury. Bad news. Graded out as a day 2 pick potentially, so we will see where he eventually goes. Colorado wide receiver corner Travis Hunter, Coach Deion Sanders says he will play this week after getting dinged up last game. Georgia linebacker Smile Munden with his foot injury, he is officially out against Texas. However, guard Tate Ratledge, coming off his tightrope surgery on his ankle, he is listed as questionable, upgraded to questionable. So hopefully that could be a big boost to that Georgia running game and pass pro if Ratledge can go against Texas. Bad news for USC linebacker Eric Gentry. He is medically redshirting after receiving multiple concussions this year. Arkansas quarterback Taylon Green had a lower body injury. However, he is expected to play when they host number 8 LSU. Texas wide receiver Isaiah Bond with an ankle injury. He is questionable, but I've heard he is going to play. Ohio State, the Buckeyes on a bye this week, but running back Quinshon Judkins taking advantage and having a minor hand procedure. Expected not to miss any time, though, so good news for the Buckeyes there. And Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King, he is officially out as they host number 12 Notre Dame this week in Atlanta. And Missouri running back Nate Noel, he is expected to play, so good news for the Tigers this weekend. Mountain West news, Hawaii is expected to join the Mountain West as a full-time member. They currently only play as a football-only member. However, in 2026, they are going to move to the Mountain West full-time in all sports. So, great news for the conference. This completes their need for an 8th team to satisfy the NCAA's conference minimums. And so now the Mountain West going forward 2026 and beyond will be Air Force, Hawaii, Nevada, UTEP, or Nevada, New Mexico, UNLV, UTEP, San Jose State, and Wyoming. Conference still looking into Texas State potentially and Northern Illinois as a football-only member. UFL news, the Arlington Renegades, they re-signed quarterback Lindsey Scott Jr. and linebacker Donald Payne, both great leaders on each side of the ball. Lindsey Scott probably going to be the starter for Coach Stoops and the Renegades this year. The DC Defenders, they re-signed quarterback Mike DeLello and defensive end Andre Mincy. Not as excited about the DeLello signing. However, Mincy, a leader on that defense, and should have a prominent role once again. The Michigan Panthers, they signed former Florida State safety Akeem Dent, their 7th-round pick this year in the college draft. So he is on board for 2025. And the Battlehawks, they signed former Jets wide receiver Denzel Mims, former 2nd-round pick of the Jets, last played with New York in 2022, has bounced around a couple of teams ever since then. And one UFL to NFL signing, the Cowboys, they signed Brahma's defense tackle Jalen Dalton to their practice squad. And I forgot to make the trade slides, but we had 3 trades go down this week. The Jets acquiring wide receiver Devontae Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders for a 2025 conditional 3rd-round pick that becomes a 2nd-rounder if Adams either is a 1st or 2nd team All-Pro or on the active roster for the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl. Raiders getting a great deal. They are not paying any of his salary. However, they are carrying dead cap money into this season, the rest of this year, and 2025. The Jets did restructure Adams to lower his cap hit as well, as they still need space if they are going to re-sign Hassan Reddick or sign Reddick to an extension. But I like it. I think it's an intriguing move for a team that's 2-4, and they get a national spotlight game once again this week to see if the Rodgers Adams connection is still there. But yeah, we will see. We will see if it works out or not. The Bills also going after a star wide receiver. They acquired wide receiver Amari Cooper and a 2025 sixth-round pick from the Browns for a 2025 third-rounder and a 2026 seventh-rounder. So, again, I like the move. The Browns, he was not happy, and it just wasn't working with Deshaun Watson, which not a lot is. But the Bills definitely needed a guy, especially with the Shakir injury recently. They needed someone to step up at the wide receiver position, and Keon Coleman's still raw as a rookie. But, yeah, Cooper should step in, be the number one guy right away. I think Josh Allen's going to love him. Might take a little bit of time, though, as they're not as acquainted, obviously, as Rodgers and Adams there in New York. And the final one, the Vikings reacquiring running back Cam Akers and a 2026 conditional seventh-round pick from the Texans for a 2026 conditional sixth-round pick. They acquired Akers from the LA Rams last year, and now he signed in Houston in the offseason, acquiring him again this year. So, yeah, they just wanted to get more running back depth with I really think they are leaning away from Ty Chandler now because he's been pretty ineffective as the starter for Aaron Jones the last couple of games, but hopefully Jones coming back this week. I need him in fantasy. General news here, the Jets, they have given edge rusher Hassan Reddick permission to seek a trade. Remember, a new agent there, Drew Rosenhaus, for him, has discussed with other teams. However, CBS Sports reported that the Jets would lose a 2025 second-round pick if he is traded to an NFC team because of a clause that was put in the trade details by Eagles GM Howie Roseman. So more than likely not going to be going to an NFC team. The Lions, however, are interested, which that was the team that immediately, came to mind whenever Aiden Hutchinson went down. I was like, dude, Hassan Reddick wants out of New York. That's fine. Trading with the Lions. But we will see how that all shakes out as the trade deadline approaches in a couple weeks. The Steelers, interesting move. They are trending towards starting Russell Wilson this week in his season debut for Pittsburgh. Yeah, I don't like it. Again, it just doesn't make sense. I was an advocate for Russell Wilson over Justin Fields early in the offseason and the preseason. However, what I've seen from Justin Fields is marked improvement from his time in Chicago. And while the offense wasn't spectacular, they're winning games. They're 4-2, tied with the Ravens at the lead of the AFC North. And yeah, I just see no reason for it to change. And I know one of the bold predictions on ESPN's article today was that the fans in Pittsburgh will be calling for Justin Fields by game's end, which definitely could see happening. A couple schedule changes for next week. The Eagles at the Bengals game, that is moved up to 1 p.m., going to be showed to 70% of the country. Bengals having a whiteout next weekend. And the Bears at the Commanders is filling their spot in the 425 game window, and potentially Jim Nance, Tony Romo could be on that game. I believe Chiefs Bucks is the other 425 game. The NFL announced that Super Bowl 62 is going to be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So the Falcons getting another Super Bowl there. I believe they hosted just one. It was built in 2017, I want to say. So I think just one Super Bowl potentially has been held there. I could be wrong, though. Tom Brady is now an NFL owner. His 5% stake in the Las Vegas Raiders has been approved by the owners, and his another former player, Hall of Famer, defensive line Richard Seymour has also purchased a 5% stake in the club. So, yeah, Mark Davis needing some cash, so selling off some of his shares there. Players of the week. AFC offense, Ravens running back Derrick Henry ran all over the Washington Commanders last week. NFC offense, Buccaneers running back Sean Tucker, excellent game, close to 200 scrimmage yards there against the Saints. AFC defense, Texans defensive end Will Anderson Jr., I believe he had 3 sacks against Drake May last week. NFC defense, Lions safety Brian Branch picked off Dak Prescott twice in their blowout win over Dallas. AFC special teamer is Colts punter Rigoberto Sanchez. Consistently placed Tennessee in a disadvantageous field position there in their win over the Titans. And NFC special team is an interesting one. Bears tight end Cole Kmet. Yes, a tight end winning the special teams player of the week because of his long snapping work for Chicago after their starting long snapper got injured early in the game, snapped for all of the field goals, kicked by Cairo Santos, and also scored 2 touchdowns on offense. The Packers, they are going to wear their white uniforms this week, all white. I don't know if they're advertising it as a whiteout in Green Bay or not, but it's too early in the year for that anyways. Snow should not be coming in October, even though it did when I was there. But yeah, here's the look at them. This is what you got here. Here's Jordan Love in the all whites. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it. They're pretty clean. I don't know. I guess this was the last one that they had, which was kind of the all whites. But I think they did away with the yellow stripe down the middle there. I think it is what this one shows in that it's just all white with the 2 green stripes. So I like it. I think they're going to look pretty good, even though they're going to lose. Just saying. We have the semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame contributors category. They are Oilers and Titans owner K.S. Bud Adams, ABC executive Rune Arledge, the creator of Monday Night Football, essentially, ESPN anchor Chris Boomer Berman, Monday Night Football broadcaster Howard Cosell, Eagles athletic trainer Otho Davis, NFL Films narrator John Facenda, Pro Scout founder Mike Giddings, Canton Bulldogs owner Ralph Hay, and one of the NFL founders as well. Patriots executive Frank Bucko Kilroy, Colts and Rams GM Don Klosterman, Rams scout Eddie Kotal, Patriots owner Robert Kraft, Bears owner Virginia McCaskey, Buccaneers GM Rich McKay, and current Falcons CEO and president. 49ers president and director of football operations John McVay, Browns and Ravens owner Art Modell, Packers sports columnist Lee Remmel, Grambling head coach Eddie Robinson, Steelers owner Art Rooney Jr., official Jerry Seaman, Elias Sports Bureau owner Seymour Seawoff, Raiders CEO Amy Trask, official Jim Tooney, Commanders executive Doug Williams, and Cowboys executive John Wooten. So out of those people, this list is going to get trimmed a couple times, but out of those, obviously, I'm a sucker for Art Rooney. I think he should be in already. I like him a lot. I think Rune Arledge should definitely be in as well. He was an innovator with Monday Night Football. And then the other one that I would probably say is Ralph Hay. I mean, why is one of the NFL founding fathers not in the Hall and one of the best teams, one of the original teams, Canton Bulldogs, excellent team in the 20s. Why he is not in as well. So those are my three from the contributor category. Only one can possibly get in, but those are my three. And we also had the Hall of Fame semifinalists for the coaches. So 12 coaches made to the semifinalists. Giants head coach Tom Coughlin, obviously two-time Super Bowl champ. Broncos head coach Mike Shanahan. 49ers head coach George Seifert. Packers and Seahawks head coach Mike Holmgren. Titans and Rams head coach Jeff Fisher. Rams head coach Chuck Knox. Broncos and Falcons head coach Dan Reeves. Browns, Chiefs, Redskins, and Chargers head coach Marty Schottenheimer. Dolphins defense coordinator Bill Arnsparger. Redskins defense coordinator Richie Petitbaum. Broncos offensive line coach Alex Gibbs, and Bears defensive coordinator Clark Shaughnessy. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of those guys. I do think Alex Gibbs should get in as a contributor, not as a coach. I think he's better listed as a contributor because of his contributions to how the game is played schematically. But in terms of the head coaches that I think should get in, I'm not a fan of most of these, but it's the two guys with the most Super Bowls. I mean, it's Mike Shanahan and George Seifert. I think those are my two that I would definitely pick from this team. And Alex Gibbs, obviously, like I said, but I think he is more of a contributor finalist there instead of a coach. But yeah, I'm going with Shanahan and Seifert in terms of coaching picks for me out of the semifinalists. IR moves. The Jets place safety Chuck Clark on IR with a high ankle sprain. Cardinals placing kicker Matt Prater and defensive lineman Bilal Nichols on the list. He is out for the season, though. Giants left tackle Andrew Thomas out for the year. Liz Frank surgery. Saints wide receiver Rashid Shaheed also probably out for the year. Meniscus repair, not a trim, so he is done for the year as well. A couple guys getting activated off IR. Brown safety Juan Thornhill and Chargers wide receiver DJ Chark Jr. Getting activated off the non-football injury list. Panthers rookie running back Jonathan Brooks coming back from ACL surgery. And non-football illness activation, Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. A couple injuries to note. Eagles corner Darius Slay. He is day-to-day with an ankle injury. Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp dealing with a high ankle sprain. Could return this week. I think it's likely, though, from what I have heard so far. Vikings tight end TJ Hawkinson, bad news for him coming back from the ACL. He is not going to return this week. Week 7 was the target. I'm going to have to wait one more week, though. And bad news for Saints last night. Corner Paulson Adebo fractured femur last night. Done for the year, obviously. Going to be a free agent next season. Ins and outs. The Bills, running back James Cook, defense tackle Ed Oliver with a hamstring injury, tight end Dalton Kincaid with a collarbone, linebacker Terrell Bernard with a pec, corner Teron Johnson with a forearm, all expected to play. Rookie running back Ray Davis with a calf injury. He is listed as questionable, so we'll have to monitor that situation. Jets wide receiver Devontae Adams with a hamstring injury. He is expected to make his Jets debut this week on Sunday Night Football. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor with an ankle injury. He is out. However, quarterback Anthony Richardson with his oblique injury, he is expected to make his return this week. Giants rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors with concussion. He was cleared to play, will return this week. And running back Devin Singletary with his ankle, he is expected to return as well. Defense tackle Dexter Lawrence with a hip injury and linebacker Brian Burns with a groin. They are both out. Panthers linebacker Jadeveon Clowney with a shoulder injury, unlikely to play. Wide receiver Deontay Johnson with rib and ankle injuries. They are both questionable. Browns running back Nick Chubb coming back from his knee injury last year. He is questionable, but is expected to return. Chiefs wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster with a hamstring injury. He will play, head coach Andy Reid said. Dolphins running back Devon Achane with a concussion. He is expected to return this week. Vikings running back Aaron Jones with a hamstring injury. He is officially listed as questionable. Falcons safety Justin Simmons is questionable as well. Raiders wide receiver Jacoby Myers, he is out, doubtful. Jags running back Travis Etienne with a hamstring injury. He is questionable, as is Patriots running back Ramondre Stevenson with a foot injury. Eagles ruled out tight end Dallas Goedert with a hamstring and left tackle Jordan Mailata with a hamstring. Mailata actually placed on IR today. And for the 49ers, running back Jordan Mason with a sprained AC joint, he will play. Wide receiver Jawan Jennings is out with a hip injury. And rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, he is going to make his NFL debut. And kicker Matthew Wright, he is going on IR. So and they're rolling with their third kicker, I believe, this week. Not sure if Jake Moody's – I do not believe Jake Moody is back yet. Listed as doubtful, I think. Releases. The Bills, they released wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling, signed him in the offseason. However, the trade for Amari Cooper necessitated his release. Packers, they released kicker Braden Narvison. Titans releasing safety Jamal Adams, granting his request for that. And the Panthers, they released corner Troy Hill as they look to get younger and give the veteran a chance to win elsewhere. One extension, the Lions, they got a deal done, signing defense tackle Aleem McNeil to a 4-year, $97 million extension, $55 million guaranteed for the big boy up front. And he was coming off a great game against the Dallas Cowboys, back-to-back great games as well. So very much worth every penny there for McNeil and the Lions. And this is the third 2021 draftee of Detroit that has been signed on an extension so far. So great job, Brad Holmes. I can't remember. I believe that was his first draft. A couple signings. The Packers mentioned they released Narvison there. They signed Commanders kicker Brandon McManus to a 1-year deal. So he is your new kicker in Green Bay. The Colts, they signed Dolphins running back Salvin Ahmed to the practice squad, and the Bills, they signed Browns kicker Lucas Haversick to the practice squad. So that is one to monitor. They want to give Tyler Bass some competition there. And the Jets, they were working out kickers as well after I mentioned Greg Zuerlein missed 2 kicks on Monday night there. They worked out Commanders kickers Riley Patterson and Cade York, and Memphis Showboats kicker Matt Coughlin as well. College football pick standings. Yeah, man, I had a great year. I had a great week last week. 22-2 for myself. It was a good week all around. So I now lead the picks by 2 over Jimmy, who went 18-6. Logan dropping down. He is now 6 back in the picks, starting to run away with it, Logan. 16-8 for him last week. And the Lone Wolves last week went Logan 0-3. He lost Cal to Pitt, USF to Memphis, and Colorado to Kansas State. Jimmy went 0-1. He lost Fresno State against Washington State. And I went 3-0. I got Arizona State over Utah right on Friday. I got Iowa over Washington right. And then LSU over Ole Miss right as well. So, see what we got this week. Starting off tonight, we have 4 games. Like I said, Florida State 1-5 at Duke 5-1. 3-point favorites for the Blue Devils there. I think they should cover that. FSU is just in a world of hurt. Brock Glenn going to start once again as DJ Uyunglele pretty much out for the year. Manny Diaz group should make Glenn's night pretty tough and get the win here for Blue Devils in Raleigh. 42.5 is a total. I am leaning on the under 7 p.m. on ESPN2. Number 2, Oregon, the Ducks, 29.5-point favorites here on the road at Purdue, and it's scary. It is a trap game, definitely. Purdue, they have taken down Giants before. Would not be shocked, but I would be shocked. Oregon coming off the high game, highest of highs, beating Ohio State last week. Got to go on the road. It's a Friday night. You never know what can happen at Purdue. So I'm just saying, watch out, Oregon tonight. Total 60.5. I like the over 60.5 here for this game. I think Oregon should score a bunch of points, probably 35 to 42, somewhere in that range or more. 8 p.m. on Fox. Oklahoma State at number 13, BYU. Cougars getting 9 at home. I'm not sure about that line. However, I do like the over 52.5. I think that has a good potential to win, despite Oklahoma State having a pretty solid defense. Parker Retzlaff in this Cougar offense has been hard to stop. And weird things happen in Provo, but they are now the favorite this time instead of the underdog like they were against Kansas State a couple weeks ago. So I like BYU potentially to cover, but scoring some points at the very worst. 10:15 on ESPN. And the final game tonight, Fresno State at Nevada. The Bulldogs getting at 3 on the road here. This one's a weird one. I could potentially see Nevada upsetting Fresno at home. But we are all rolling with the Bulldogs. I trust Mikey Keene and trust him to get the ball to his playmakers and win this one, even if it is close. Total's 49.5. I don't really have a play on that. I would lean on the under 10:30 on CBS Sports. Tomorrow, starting off, number 6, Miami at Louisville. And Logan is rolling Cardinals. You know, I don't blame him. I really don't. I was thinking about doing it, and then I was just like, no, I'm not going to do it. It's a road game. It's an ACC matchup. It's going to be a tough game, but I do think Miami will pull this out despite my Miami hate. I think they will get this one, even if they don't cover there. Total is 60.5. I lean on the over. 12 p.m. ABC and ESPN Plus. Virginia at number 10, Clemson. The Tigers 20.5, 21-point favorites at home. I could see them covering, but I've been burned by Virginia before. Would not be shocked if Virginia keeps this close, as you know, the Cavs have been playing some pretty good ball. But yeah, Clemson's been crushing people, and would not be shocked if that happens as well. 57.5 is the total for this one. I lean on the over. 12 p.m. ACC Network. Nebraska at number 16, Indiana. Jimmy, I don't know what you're doing, man. No, my Hoosiers got this, right? They're at home. They're ranked 6.5-point favorites at home. I love it. Give me Indiana. Not sure about the spread. I would probably lean on Nebraska +7 by the half a point. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good game, and Indiana comes out on top though by a little bit. 49.5 is the total. I like the over. Give me some points. Curtis Rourke, Dylan Raiola. 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. Auburn at number 19 Missouri. I mentioned Nate Noel coming back for Missouri in this game. So I think they get this win. I think they probably cover at home as well. I think that's too small of a spread here for the Tigers, despite having some issues this year. I just think at home they're going to play very well in Columbia and win at least by 4 there. If you want, buy a point and get it down to 3, or 1.5 to get it down to 2.5. 49.5 is the total here. I probably lean on the under. 12 p.m. on ESPN. ECU, East Carolina at number 23, Army. The Black Knights ranked 16-point favorites at home. Upset alert? I don't think so. ECU, while they are 3-3, I think Army's just rolling too well right now. Brayson Daly has been outstanding at the quarterback position for the Black Knights. So not sure if they cover this, but I do think they'll win. Total Total is 51.5 here. I would lean on the over. 12 p.m. ESPN2. Arizona State at Cincinnati. I was surprised. I thought Jimmy was going to go with Cincy. They're favored at home here against ASU. Big loss for ASU here. It's actually 5.5 here. Army 16.5. 5.5 for Cincy, though. The Bearcats at home. ASU, though, no Sam Levitt this week. So it's going to be a big loss for them. However, they do have an experienced quarterback coming in Jeff Sims. Not as dynamic throwing the ball, but he can run very well. So I think him and Cam Scadaboo are going to have a great day running the ball, even though Cincinnati is worse at defending the pass. So it's going to be an interesting game plan for how the Sun Devils attack the Bearcat defense, but I think defensively for Arizona State, they have been good as well. Shut down Utah last week. I think they can shut down Cincinnati as well. So give us all the Sun Devils here on the road. Total is 51.5. I lean on the under. 12 p.m. ESPN Plus. Big Sunbelt action here. Louisiana at Coastal Carolina. The Raging Cajuns getting 5 on the road on the teal turf. And usually I wouldn't go against Coastal on the teal turf. However, I have not been impressed by Coastal at 4-2. Ethan Vasco, I was impressed early in the season. I was excited about him. Then they lost a game, and I was like, I'm not sure about this Coastal team anymore. However, Louisiana has looked fantastic. So I don't know if they cover, though, because it is a tough road atmosphere. But I do like the the Cajuns to win here. Total is 57.5. I lean on the under. 12 p.m. ESPNU. Number 7, Alabama at number 11, Tennessee. And Jimmy going with the Tide. Yeah, and they're favorites. They're 3-point favorites in Knoxville, and that's kind of exactly why I'm going with Tennessee. It's in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium. It's a tough place to play, and I just think that with how Alabama defensively has been playing, they have been getting blitzed. I just think Nico, despite not playing well the last 2 games, I do think this is a team that Nico should have success with passing the ball. Brew McCoy, Squirrel White. That is where they can attack this Alabama defense. Nico, it's a big game as a freshman, but I do think that he can get it done. So, on the Bama side, Kalen DeBoer, this might be an elimination game for them, although they do have the Georgia win. So that's good at least. But I don't know. I just have a feeling Tennessee should be able to win this one at home. Total here is 56.5, and I like the over 56.5. By the half point to get it to 56, or 1 point to get it under 56. 3:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. Number 12 Notre Dame at Georgia Tech, and yeah, I mentioned no Haynes King here for the Yellow Jackets. So I originally picked Georgia Tech as well, just like Logan. But when I heard Haynes King was out, I cannot trust Brent Key's team offensively anymore. It is now up to 14 for the Irish on the road. Would not be surprised if they cover that. I do lean on Georgia Tech plus 14 because I do still think they're a decent team. Just offensively, I'm not sure what we're going to get. Jamal Haynes is going to have to run the ball a lot into this Irish front 7 in order to slow the game down, keep Riley Leonard off the field. However, I do think this sets up well for an under 49.5 here is where I'm going with this game. A lot of points for an offense that I don't trust. 3:30 ESPN. Top 25 matchup in the Big Ten. Number 24, Michigan, 3.5-point favorites at Number 22, Illinois. And we are all on the Illini. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why Michigan's favored in a road game against Big Ten, especially a team that's been playing well in Illinois. Luke Altmaier has to prove that he's a top flight quarterback here. Good opportunity to do it against one of the best defenses in the country. Again, however, Illinois, Brett Bielema, he knows Big Ten football, and this is what he does. He runs the ball and plays defense. So I think that's what they're going to do. Good against good here, and Illinois gets the job done. Yeah, so I like Illinois on the money line here. You can take them plus 3.5 if you want to be safe. Total is 44.5. I lean on the under 330. Big Ten on CBS and Paramount Plus. Charlotte, the Miners, the 49ers at number 25, Navy, 16-point favorites for the Midshipmen at home in Annapolis. Yeah, I think they get this done. Not sure about the spread, though. I haven't really seen Charlotte this year, but they should be able to win this one handily. Total is 56.5. I lean on the under 330 CBS Sportsnet. Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors coming to the continent at Washington State. Cougs getting 18.5. I lean on Hawaii plus 18.5. I know it's a lot of points. They pushed against Boise State last week as a 21-point dog. So I think plus 18.5 on Hawaii is a decent play. Love John Mateer. Love this Cougs offense, but defensively they've had some struggles. So I'm going to go with Washington State, but Hawaii plus 18.5. Total's 55.5, though. Give me the over 55.5. Wazoo score some points. 3:30 on the CW network. Big time game in the MAC. Maction, Toledo at Northern Illinois. And Logan is going with the old Rusty's Huskies. I said the new Rusty's Huskies is potentially Washington. But, yeah, Logan going with NIU. It's a home game. Huskies getting 2.5 at home. Would not be shocked if they win this one. I'm going with Toledo, though. I've not been impressed by NIU this year so far. They have let me down a little bit. So I'm going with the Rockets, even though they have been up and down as well. Give me Toledo. They're the more stringent program here. 43.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 3:30 ESPN Plus. Big news in the Oregon game tonight. Jordan Birch is out. Entered in practice last week. 2 straight games he has missed. So shouldn't be a factor, though, but could potentially be. Big 12 matchup here. Baylor at Texas Tech. We're all on the Red Raiders. 6.5 points. I lean on Texas Tech. They're -6 now, actually, so even better. Yeah, give me the Red Raiders -6. Total is 55.5. I lean on the over. This one's 4 p.m. on ESPN2. Big Sunbelt matchup. James Madison at 9.5-point favorites at Georgia Southern. I lean on Georgia Southern plus 9.5. I think they could cover that one, really. However, JMU, Alonzo Burnett, they're going to get this offense rolling and play pretty well against Georgia Southern in Statesboro. Total's 58.5. I lean on the over. 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Number 14, Texas A&M at Mississippi State. The Aggies getting 18 on the road. Would not be shocked if they cover that. I'm not going to take it, though, because at Mississippi State, I know Mississippi State's not that good. They played very well against Georgia last week, though, in Athens. So not going to take it. It's actually 19.5 now for A&M. Total is 56.5. I lean on the under. 4:15 p.m. on SEC Network. Number 8, LSU at Arkansas. 2.5 for the Tigers here. It's a tough road game. Just ask Tennessee. But I think the Tigers have the defense to get this thing done. I think they have the offense. Garrett Nussmeier, experienced quarterback. Big win last week over Ole Miss. So give me LSU to win this one close. potentially cover. 56.5 is the total. I lean on the under. 7 p.m. on ESPN. Go Dogs. Number 5, Georgia. At number 1, Texas. Of course, I am going to pick Georgia. It's Mark's birthday today, and I wish it was tomorrow because that means we would win, definitely. But picking Georgia for him, for all the Dog fans. And I do think Carson Beck, had the offensive explosion last week. Defense let him down, allowing 31 to Mississippi State and 10-point win out and whatnot. Texas has been killing everyone, but they haven't played a team like Georgia this season. Michigan was the closest thing. Michigan's not Georgia. It's going to be tough. Smile Munden out. Tate Ratledge, they announced going to dress likely, but only play if he needs to in an emergency situation. So looks like no Tate Ratledge as well. Backs against the wall. That's fine. Georgia is now the hunted, not the hunter anymore. And Texas is looking to prove that little number 1 beside their name is no fluke. So it's going to be a very difficult game, a good game. I think high-scoring affair. And I just think Carson Beck can get it done for Georgia, just like he did coming back against Alabama, even in a loss. They didn't lose because of Carson Beck necessarily, even though he did throw an interception. At the end, that wasn't great. 56.5 is the total. I like the over. Over 56.5. High-scoring affair. 7:30 ABC and ESPN Plus. UCF at number 9, Iowa State, 13.5 for the Cyclones here. I lean on 13.5. I think Iowa State is a very good team. UCF doesn't have a great defense, so I think Iowa State could cover that potentially. But I like this Iowa State defense. They have been outstanding this year for Matt Campbell's squad. So total's 49.5. I lean on the under. 7:30 FS1. Number 17, Kansas State at West Virginia in Morgantown. KSU, 2.5-point favorites. I'm not touching this game at all. I never touch a game in West Virginia unless it's betting on West Virginia, which I'm not going to do in this one. So give us KSU, and we'll hope that Avery Johnson can win a road game, unlike he wasn't able to do against BYU a couple weeks ago. Total's 55.5. I lean on the over. 7:30 on Fox. Big American matchup. North Texas. How about the Mean Green 5-1? I did not even know they were until I saw it this week at Memphis. Big matchup here. But, yeah, we all like the Tigers. Think Seth Hennigan not touching the spread because I have not watched North Texas this year yet. But I'm going to go with Memphis just because they experienced Seth Hennigan in squad. Total here is 68.5. I think I'm leaning on the over. 7:30 ESPNU. Number 21, SMU at Stanford. Yeah, we're all on the Mustangs. I think they should get this done. I lean on Stanford plus 16.5, though. I think Stanford has been a thorn in the side of me and a lot of bettors out there, and they have been pretty frisky so far this year. So would not be shocked if Stanford covers this one. Go in SMU to win, though. 53.5 is a total. I lean on the over. 8 p.m. ACC Network. UNLV at Oregon State. Minus 6.5 for the Rebels here. I lean on Oregon State plus 7. Haven't seen Oregon State a lot this season, but I think they could give UNLV some trouble in Corvallis. You never know. But Haj Malik Williams, they have this offense rolling. Him and Ricky White have a great connection. So give us the Rebs. 59.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 10 p.m. on CW Network. And finally, the FCS Game of the Week. It is a massive showdown, nationally televised game. Number 1, South Dakota State, 2.5-point favorites at the Fargo Dome. Number 2, North Dakota State. And hell yeah, I am lone wolfing the Jackrabbits. I have been on the Jacks from day one 2 years ago when they won their first national championship of recent memory, and then doubled down last year when they went back to back. And now we are going for a three-peat. We are 5-1. This is the big test before the big test. Give me South Dakota State Jackrabbits. They win, they cover, and they get out of Fargo with a massive dub. 51.5 is the total. I like the over. 8 p.m. on ESPN2. On to the NFL here. Let's go. Yeah. Again, I raked last week. Logan and I 11-1. So I now lead it by 2 over Logan and Jimmy. Logan and John, I should say. John was also very good. We were all good. John 10-2 last week. He is tied with Logan now in second place. Jimmy 9-3, still respectable. Down by 5 there in the bottom. So last week we had only a couple lone wolves here. Jimmy went 0-2, hence his 9-3 record. Arizona losing to Green Bay, and Dallas getting blitzed by Detroit. John lost his only lone wolf, the Giants, against the Bengals on Sunday night. So only 2 lone wolves this week for the squad. A lot of splits, though. This is not one of them. London game, Patriots at the Jags. Yeah, I'm rolling with the Jags. Yeah. It's not a great pick. 25 versus 25, 6-point favorite for the Jacksonville. It's not a great pick, but sure, let's go with the Jags. Trevor Lawrence actually has been playing very good football the last 2 games, despite losing and only going 1-1 here. I think that he is the key, and he just needs help. Like the receivers dropping balls in the end zone last week, fumbles, and it needs to get better around him. The defense obviously needs to play a lot better as well. So they're playing a rookie quarterback. I think they should be playing well, and it's in London, where the Jags are the home team this time instead of the away team like they were against the Bears last week. Different stadium, but give me Jacksonville to win this one. 41.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. 9:30 a.m. on NFL Network. Eagles at the Giants. Go Birds. Yeah, Saquon's revenge game, and I think Philly wins and wins by a lot. I think -3 is a good play. I just think Saquon over on the yards, touchdown as well. Whatever it is, he should rake in this one because, well, whether he says it or not, which he has not said it so far, this one needs a lot. The Giants discarded him. They weren't offering what Eagles were offering in free agency, so he said, "Okay, I'll go to your rivals." That's cool. So yeah, I'm very excited to watch Saquon run all over the Giants. 42.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. Also, big note in this one. Again, no Jordan Mailata for Philadelphia, but it's not as big of a deal. No Brian Burns for the Giants as well. Kayvon Thibodeau on IR also, I believe. So, yeah, they don't have a big edge presence. Azeez Ojulari would be the guy. That would be number 1. But we will see where they deploy him. On to the Titans at the Bills. Buffalo's getting 8.5 at home here. I would not be shocked if they cover that. I don't like taking that big of a spread in the NFL unless it's against the Panthers. But Tennessee sucks, so give me Buffalo. Total is 40.5. I am leaning on the under. Could be a dicey play, but leaning and not playing. Our first split here, Texans at the Packers. John, Logan going with Green Bay. Jimmy and I, we are on the Houston Texans, and yeah, it's going to be a very good game. Very, very good game. I'm excited to watch. But I believe in CJ Stroud, and what I don't believe in is the Packers defense yet. They got blown up by Minnesota. So, and the Texans defense, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, they have been awesome. So I'm going with Houston. I just think they're the better team overall. It's close. It is definitely close, but I do think Houston wins this one. So I'm buying the half point. Give me Houston +3. Total is 48.5. I lean on the over. Lions at the Vikings. John is going with the road dog here. The road dog in the Lions. Vikings getting 1.5 in Minneapolis. And I think that's one of the big factors for me is that they're at home. Also, it's just Brian Flores. Like, you would expect us to all pick the Lions after they demolished the Cowboys last week in Dallas, 47-9. But Brian Flores has this defense just playing out of their mind right now. I got the gink as well, so give me Minnesota to stifle this Lions offense and get to 6-0. 50.5 is the total. I lean on the under. Another split here. Seahawks at the Falcons. Falcons getting 3 at home, and I like Atlanta -3. Jimmy and John, they are on the Seahawks. Logan and I on the Falcons. Kirk Cousins playing ridiculous football right now. This Falcons offense has it going. Justin Simmons is questionable on the back end for Atlanta, but I don't think it's going to matter that much, despite the offense that Geno Smith has been putting out the last couple of games. It's been a lot of garbage time. So, yeah, give me Atlanta. I think this is going to be an offensive explosion in this game, and I think Falcons are the better offense and the better defense, I think. So Atlanta -3 and over 51.5. Bengals at the Browns AFC North matchup. It is 5.5 for Cincinnati here. Yeah, I would lean on Cleveland to cover because of the defense. I think it's a lot of points for the defense to not be able to keep this thing close enough. But Joe Burrow's got these boys rolling. Bengals only scored 17 against the Giants. Good defense. Browns, I think, might be a little bit better. So it could be close. Nick Chubb coming back for Cleveland, but I'm going with Cincinnati and that Bengals offense. Total's 41.5. I lean on the under. Dolphins at the Colts. Colts 3-point favorites at home. Give me Indy -3. Anthony Richardson returning in this one. No Jonathan Taylor still. Colts have been winning, though, regardless. And I think they win and cover in this one again. Tyler Huntley, I believe, is expected to go for Miami again. Devon Achane expected to be back this week, so it could be a boost to Miami's offense. I don't think it's going to matter, though. Indy -3, I think they cover that. Total is 43.5. I am leaning on the over. 405 slate. 2 games here. The Panthers at the Commanders. Yeah, give me Washington. I mean, continuing to bet on bet against the Panthers here. I am buying points, though. It's 9.5 right now. I'm buying it to 7 to get that even stroke there. 51.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. Actually, I'm going on the over. Over 51.5. Neither defense has been very good. The Raiders at the Rams. Rams getting 7 at home. Cooper Kupp potentially returning for this one. No Devontae Adams anymore for Vegas. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough game for the Raiders here. Aiden O'Connell, I think, is starting again. So, I think the Rams get their second win of the season. Potentially cover, but it's going to be close. The Raiders defense still frisky, even without Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins. 43.5 is the total. I am leaning on the over. Another split here. The Chiefs at the 49ers. 2-point favorites for San Fran at home. And it's tough. It is tough. Jimmy and I, we are on the 49ers. John and Logan are on the Super Bowl champs here. San Fran has to get him at some point, right? The Super Bowl rematch. And I think Kyle Shanahan will do it. Chiefs are banged up. 49ers are healthy. So I think this is the difference health-wise, and 49ers get it done. So, yeah, not playing anything on this. So total's 46.5. I lean on the under. 425 on this game here. National TV. Speaking of national TV, Sunday Night Football, Jets at the Steelers. 2-point favorites for New York and Pittsburgh. John and I, we are on the Steelers. Jimmy and Logan are on the Jets. And I understand the big flashy thing is pick the Jets with Devontae Adams. However, I am still going with Pittsburgh despite Russell Wilson starting probably. It's still the defense. TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and those boys can still play defense. They got a big win last week over the Raiders. And it's going to be a very difficult game because the Jets are essentially playing for their season. But I like the Steelers. 38.5 is the total. I am leaning on the under. 8:20 p.m. NBC and Peacock. Best bets of the week. Yeah, last week continued to play well here. 2-1 on the best bets last week. I got the Texans -6.5 right at the Patriots. Lost the Cardinals +5.5 at the Packers. And then I got the Colts +2.5 at the Titans right as they won outright. So this week, here we go. I love the Eagles play -3 at the Giants. Saquon Barkley running it very well against New York at MetLife. So give me Eagles -3. I like the Falcons -2.5 against Seahawks as well. I told you all about that play. I think it's going to be an offensive game. And I just think this Falcons defense is going to be a unit that actually makes it matter at the end. And then Washington -7.5 against the Panthers. That was the line I got initially. So give me 7.5 over Carolina. 11-6-1 of the year. Pretty solid. Lock standings. Yeah. I mentioned this on Friday. I mentioned this last Friday. I was like, we need a week that we can all get a win, all get on the board. Everyone is now 500 or better. We all won last week. Jimmy and I are at the top 4-2. Logan and John right on our heels at 3-3. And last week locks. Logan got the Commanders right, or got the Eagles right. I should say over the Browns. And Jimmy. Jimmy was on Philadelphia as well. I got the Texans right over the Patriots, and John got the Falcons right. Over the Panthers. So this week, here we go. Logan is going against the Panthers. He is on the Commanders as his lock. I am on the Eagles this week against the Giants. And Jimmy and John, they are together on theirs. They have the Bills against the Titans, which is getting close to not being a lock. It's 8.5 now. Logan also 9.5 on Washington. I don't know. We'll see. Dog standings. Logan and I continue to eat as the dogs here. 2-0 for us. We were both on the Colts last week. We got the outright win, +2.5 at the Titans. John and Jimmy, they were together as well. They were on Washington +7 at the Ravens. They lost the game, but they did push. So John picks up his second tie of the year. I am still in the lead by half a game over Logan, 8-3-1. 8-4 for Logan in second. Jimmy and John wallowing away. Jimmy 4-7-1. He is 4 games back, and John 1-9-2. He is 7 games back, I believe. 6.5, whatever it is. Dogs of the week here, Logan. He is going with the Chiefs against the 49ers. Him and John are together on Kansas City. Jimmy and I on the 49ers. He's got +2 at San Fran. I'm going with the Texans, +2.5 at the Packers. Same split there. Jimmy and I on the Texans. John and Logan on the Packers. Jimmy, he is on the Patriots, +6 at the Jags in London. And I am Lone Wolf in Jacksonville on that one. And John, he is on the Seahawks, his Seahawks, +3 at the Falcons. Logan and I on the Falcons, Jimmy and John on the Seahawks in that game. And that is the show for today. Next week, talk week 8. Get you all your game recaps, game previews as well. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and X, FAA_bets as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and we will see y'all back on Monday.